When you look at the level of nepotism in Nigeria and how Igbo phobia has continued to rise ever since the amalgamation of Nigeria, one is forced to wonder why Igbos are hated. For the young Igbo of this generation who do not have knowledge of Nigeria's history and the level of attacks the Igbo have suffered at the hands of other Nigerians, they are often left surprised as to why they are despised by others, even when they are open-hearted and contribute to the growth of their host communities. In this documentary, we are going to try to pinpoint certain verses and characters in Nigeria's history that recorded or show why Igbos are hated and the cause for this hatred or Igbo phobia. But before we dive into it, let us first carve out a definition for Igbo phobia. Igbo phobia is simply the fear of the Igbo people or person. This fear, in the Nigerian context, stems from various attributes of the Igbo. But at the top of the list is the undisputable fact that the Igbo are very industrious and are high achievers in whatever field of endeavor they find themselves. And since they are high achievers, they would most likely succeed better than the indigents of whatever community they settle in. And as is common with human nature, success breeds envy. And in the Nigerian context, the Igbo man's success is seen as an attempt to dominate or subdue others. The amalgamation of Nigeria, the British dislike of the Igbo, and how it transferred to other Nigerians. From the inception and creation of the country called Nigeria, there has been a disposition of dislike for the Igbo. Many believe that this disdain for the Igbo was handed down from the British to the Northerners mainly. Or maybe this disdain for the Igbo was developed by the North, the West, and other parts of Nigeria because the Igbo were successful strangers in their host communities. The British, being the architects of Nigeria, disliked the Igbo because they were and are difficult to conquer or rule. The Igbo had a mind of their own and posed a great challenge to the colonialist government structure. The Igbo lived an individualistic and egalitarian life and did not have a central authority through which the British could have ruled them. The Ekumeku War of Resistance against British rule that lasted for 31 years and other wars from various parts of Igbo land to resist British invasion was more reason why the British despised the Igbo. The difficulty of the Igbo drove the British to create more alliances with the northern emirs among other leaders of other ethnic nationalities in Nigeria. So, at amalgamation, the favorites of the British were the Northerners, even though they had little resources to contribute to the creation and effective administration of the new nation called Nigeria. As the nation progressed after amalgamation, and there was a movement of Southerners to the north and Northerners to the south, the majority of the Southerners, or will I say Easterners, in the north were the Igbo. The Aba Women's Protest, or War, of 1929 to 1930 was another clear indication to the British that the Easterners, especially the Igbo, were not to be trusted or given certain opportunities. This period was also the time when Igbo workers started to migrate to the north, west, and midwest to work in the rail lines, do business, and later become part of the civil service since the majority of the Igbo were educated. Between amalgamation in 1914 and the 1950s, the population of the Igbo had grown extensively in the north and western parts of Nigeria. They were also very successful in their businesses, crafts, and duties in the civil government. This build-up led to the popular sentiment of Igbo domination in Nigeria, but especially in the north, where the Igbo were never fully welcomed and were made to live in secluded areas called Sabongeri. The Igbo domination mantra led to the popular statement by Sir Ahmadu Bello, the then Premier of the North. In an interview with a European correspondent from the international press, when asked why the North was so obsessed about their counterparts from the East, the Igbo, he made the following remarks.
Well, the Igbos are more or less the type of people whose desire is mainly to dominate everybody. If they go to a village, to a town, they want to monopolize everything in that area. If you put them in a labor camp as a laborer, within a year they will try to emerge as headman of that camp, and so on.
The Igbo domination mantra and general dislike for the Igbo, whom the British and everyone else felt were too loud and proud, somewhat became a uniting factor in pre-independence Nigeria and post-independence Nigeria among the various ethnic nationalities in Nigeria, but more potent in the north. One of the results of the pre-independence pieces of evidence of why Igbos are hated in Nigeria was the Jos riot of 1945 and the killing of Ndi Igbo, which was as a result of increased tension between the Northerners and the Easterners, a product of the Igbo domination and encroachment sentiment in the North. Another was the massacre of Igbo coal miners in Enugu on 18th November 1949 by Northern soldiers under the command of British officers. 21 Igbo men were shot dead, while 51 others sustained injuries. The next time the Igbo were killed in Nigeria was in 1953 in Kano. For no fault of theirs, but only being present in a great number in Kano, the northern mob invaded Sabongeri and slaughtered Ndi Igbo and destroyed their properties. This particular violence and massacre of Easterners were planned and coordinated by Malam Inu Awada of the Northern People's Congress (NPC), a political party that evolved from the Native Authority administration. His reason for unleashing local government security officials and the mob on the Easterners was because Chief Akintola's Action Group Party booed and abused the northern members of the NPC in Lagos, and Akintola was planning to come to Kano. Malam Inu Awada and his people wanted to revenge against the Yoruba, but somehow ended up killing Igbo people who had nothing to do with the differences between the NPC and the Action Group, who never showed up in Kano. This also is another evidence of why Igbos are hated in Nigeria, because if not for sheer hate and disdain, why would the northern mob organized to harass Chief Akintola and his people turn on the Igbo, kill them and destroy their properties? The hostilities against the Igbo in Nigeria would continue till after independence. The 1966 coup of January, led by Major Chukwuma Nzogu, was the perfect ignition to the time bomb that had been taken in Nigeria. The coup was an excuse to unleash genocide against the Igbo. And by 1971, the genocide, which lasted 4 years, had taken more than 3 million Igbo lives. The first year, 1966, saw over 100,000 Igbo being killed in various pogroms in the north, while 1967 to 1971 saw millions killed in the Biafran War. In the 3 to 4 years of the war, history saw the whole of Nigeria, the Hausa-Fulani, the Yoruba, the Tiv, the Idoma, the Benin, and other ethnic nationalities turn against the Igbo and attempted to wipe them from the face of the earth in what would be described as an African Holocaust. After the war, which was fought to stop the Igbo from leaving the Nigerian state, the Igbo who wanted their nation were forced to return to the federation called Nigeria, but were never fully welcomed back into the nation. What they faced after the war was economic ostracization, political marginalization, and social bullying. This marginalization, which is a precipitate of the Igbo Phobia in Nigeria, is still present to date. 30 mass killings from 1945 till date that prove Igbo Phobia and why Igbos are hated. It is very easy for an average non-Igbo Nigerian to say that the Igbo are not hated in Nigeria, and that their cry of marginalization and suppression is simply a victimhood mentality. The truth is that whoever is of that opinion is outright dubious and hates to hear the truth, or even speak the truth. There are over 100 years of evidence to prove that the Igbo are hated in Nigeria and are only being tolerated in most cases. A clear example is the number of times the Igbo have been attacked and killed in various unprovoked uprisings by northern mobs, often called riots, in Nigeria. To buttress these facts, below we have listed chronologically the number of times the Igbo have been targeted and massacred in Nigeria's history. After you listen, then you use your tongue to count your teeth and tell us if the Igbo are loved and appreciated in Nigeria. The just killing of Ndi Igbo in 1945. The Kanu killings of Ndi Igbo in 1953. The 1966 pogroms. Over 100,000 civilians were killed. Many say that the numbers are beyond 200,000. The Biafran War of Survival between 1967 and 1971. Over 3.1 million Igbos were killed during the bloody civil war, including the Asaba massacre or the Asaba genocide. The Kanu killings of 1980. The Meduguri killings of 1982. The Jimeta killings of 1984. The Gombe killings of 1985. The Zaria killings of 1987. Kaduna and Kafanchan killings of 1991. The Bauchi and Katsina killings of 1991. The Kanu killings of 1991. The Zangon Kataf killings of 1992. The Funtua killings of 1993. The Kanu killings of 1994. The Kaduna killings of 2000. The Kaduna killings of 2001. The Meduguri killings of 2001. The Jos Maiden crisis and killings of September 2001. The Kaduna killings of 2002. The Jos killings of November 2008. The beheading of Gideon Akaloka in December of 1996 in a police station in Kano. Igbo driver nicknamed St. Maurice killed on the 13th of December 2001 for mistakenly driving his truck over a Quran. Post-April 2011 presidential elections, 10 youth corpers, men and women, and numerous Igbo citizens murdered because a Christian Southerner was elected as president. The Just Christmas Eve killings of 2010. The Madala Christmas Day bombing of 2011. The Mubi killings of January 6, 2012. The many Igbo deaths that has been caused by Boko Haram and Fulani headsmen. Thousands of Igbo men and women who have been murdered extrajudicially by the Nigerian armed forces for demanding equity for Ndi Igbo through the agitation for Biafra. And many more we can not lay our hands on at this point of documenting this piece. This is but a glimpse of what the Igbo suffers in Nigeria. And when we speak up against this injustice, our detractors accuse the Igbo of playing the victim. What crime has the Igbo committed that has called for the continuous letting of their blood from way before independence till date? The answer you give yourself as to why Igbos are hated is dependent on the amount of truth and lies or propaganda you have been fed with. But whatever it is you tell yourself, we will not stop stating the fact that we are not treated with love and respect in Nigeria, despite all our contributions to the emancipation and growth of the nation for over 100 years. The Igbo success in business and education as the reason why Igbos are hated. The Igbo are known around the world as a people who are grounded in business, industry, and commerce, and have one of the highest education indices in Nigeria and Africa at large. Having an individualistic approach to life and achievement, the last 100 years has seen the Igbos surpass their neighbors in collective economic might. From amalgamation till 1966, the Igbo left their homes in the hinterlands of the East and established themselves all over Nigeria, each man striving hard to become a master in his business or job. This led to the collective Nigerian sentiment that the Igbo were domineering, when in fact all they cared about was success, heights they and their families could be proud of. It was reported that the eastern region of Nigeria was the fastest growing economy in the world around the 1950s and 1960s. Unfortunately, this growth was stunted by the Biafran War, which led to a near total destruction of the Igbo economy and livelihood. But as Providence would have it, the Igbo have built back their economy power and are now one of the backbones of Nigeria's commerce. Today, without any significant government help, the Igbo control all major markets in Nigeria, ranging from the importation of building materials, kitchen utensils, electronics, phones and gadgets, clothing, plastics and wares, motor and machine spare parts, among many other businesses that drive Nigeria's business industry. They are also involved in the manufacturing of some of these goods, even though the economy and accessibility to FX for raw materials stifles their businesses. It is a general sentiment that a man who is well-to-do or has achieved success for himself is often envied by those who don't have. We see this play out in the day-to-day lives of humans, and there is a permanent antagonism for the haves by the have-nots. There is a deep-seated dislike for those who seem to have some form of financial success by those who don't. This is the tragedy of life, and this is the bane of the dislike for the Igbo. A dislike blamed on their supposed arrogance, and arrogance derived from their financial success. But in reality and truth, the Igbo man has not achieved his success on a platter. If there is any ethnic nationality that has labored well enough for the success they now enjoy today, it is the Igbo, a people who rose from 20 pounds after the war to owning real estate and businesses all over Nigeria and beyond. If at all, other ethnic groups should learn from the Igbo the blueprint of their success instead of hating the Igbo for that success. Now, if I asked you, the unbiased listener, why Igbos are hated for their business success, would you say I was making a wrong claim? Or would you agree that there's an obvious political and social gang-up against the Igbo for their business prowess in Nigeria? I will leave you with a clue of the gang-up I speak of. And that is the burning and destruction of Igbo businesses both in the north and the west of Nigeria at any slightest provocation. As of 2022, when this piece was documented, there have been several incidents of looting, destruction, and burning of Igbo businesses in Nigeria. Some examples are as follows. The burning and destruction of Igbo shops in Sokoto following the killing of Deborah Samuel, a Northern Christian, in May of 2022. The destruction of over 500 shops belonging to Igbo people in Igara, Jakonde, along Lekki-Ekpe Express by Lagos State Government. the burning of Igbo businesses and destruction of properties worth over ₦1 billion and killing of 5 people on the 18th of May 2022 in Dede, Abuja. No matter what the disagreement or issue was, the first point of call is always to destroy Igbo businesses. And we have seen this happen all over Nigeria for far too long. This begs the question, why do Nigerians have a penchant for destroying Igbo businesses? Your guess is as good as mine. The pride of the Igbo in their achievements as the reason why Igbos are hated. Just like every great people around the world, the Igbo are a hard-working race and take great pride in their life's achievement. This genuine pride is what many Nigerians perceive as arrogance and in turn persecute the Igbo over. The United States of America, for instance, prides itself as the greatest democracy and most successful nation in the world. They portray their achievements and prowess in movies, songs, and their pronouncements on every world stage or event. No one sees this as arrogance. No one loathes the USA or tags them self-conceited or pompous. Instead, people from around the world strive to become American citizens. This is not the case for Igbo. In an ever-suppressive nation, they are expected to hide their achievements, ingenuity, and contributions to the growth of humanity, tuck their tails in between their legs, and present themselves as inferior animals to be accepted as good Nigerians, or possibly remain in their villages and wear sackcloths and use stones to light fires, so that other ethnic nationalities would feel comfortable in their laziness. Of course, that can never happen. This is not the way Igbo are wired. For those who hate Igbo and accuse them of being pompous, please understand that the Igbo man is built on an egalitarian foundation, a blueprint that demands that he succeeds on his own at all costs. This means that he worships no man. He believes strongly in his chi, his life force, and knows deep down that it is only his chi that has the power to pull him down. It is only his chi he can bow to. This basic principle is evident in the fact that Igbo do not have monarchs who dictate the destinies and lives of their subjects. The Igbo have no kings or rulers who decide for their entire people. The Umunna parliamentary kind of government, which every Igbo clan has and operates, makes Igbo a republican people, and as such, every Igbo man's opinion counts in the decisions that might make or mar the future of himself and his family. With such a background, it is difficult to find an Igbo man who does not walk tall and proud. It is a trait embedded in our genes, a trait that our unborn children already carry from the realms of our ancestors Ndichie. If this trait is the major reason why Igbo are hated, then it is useless wanting the same country with such a people. Because at every point, our boldness and inability to bow before men timidly will come off as being arrogant or pompous, even when we don't intend to. My advice is that Nigerians, as well as other world's people, understand why Igbo are the way they are, and that our boldness is not an attempt to bully our neighbors, but only a defense mechanism to shield our destinies against failure. Hence, we let our individual chi and our ancestors down. In conclusion, this documentary was inspired by the high volume of queries we received concerning why the Igbos are hated. The frequency and rise of this particular question left us alarmed. Not because we do not know that Igbo are hated in Nigeria, but because now more than ever, that hatred seems to have been felt or witnessed by a younger generation of Igbo, a generation who have been hit with a rude shock of the level of Igbo phobia they see around them in real life and on social media. A generation with no knowledge of Nigeria's nepotistic history, and more so, over 100 years of prejudice against Igbo being what unites other ethnicities in Nigeria. Now we must do our best to present the facts from an Igbo perspective to them, and in doing so, hope that this does not drive them to hate people of other ethnic nationalities. For anger and hate leads us all to doom. Also, this piece is to spur inquiries from other ethnic nationalities to understand the Igbo problem that Nigeria has, and hope that this documentary will be a starting point to the question that we all have, which is, why are Igbos hated in Nigeria?